Hello and welcome back to the Innovate Eco podcast and the Startup Diaries. If you're watching on video, you'll notice we're at a slightly different location, and we're actually, for the first time ever, and the first time ever on the Innovate Eco podcast, two people, me and either my guest or co-host in this case, in the same room, or in this case, I don't know, what would you call this, terrace. We are back for this episode where it all began with the No Longer Known journey and story. If you're familiar with it, then you'll be aware that we had the idea, started talking about the idea back in 2018 when we were in Andalusia, and we went looking for the Iberian lynx, and we are back in Andalusia.
Yeah. I was thinking, do you remember where that was in relation to...
Yeah, so currently we are on holiday, taking a break from the slog of building a brand. We're in Antequera, which is about half an hour north of Malaga. And we were, for that, the lynx was in Doñana National Park, which is probably about 2 or 3 hours southwest of here. So that's kind of, yeah.
So there's no lynx around here, you think?
They are found pretty much all over Spain, and more widespread now thanks to their recovery. But they are still pretty confined to certain areas and just very difficult to spot anyway. So I think there are some in the mountains around here, but for us to see one, especially in the daytime, very difficult.
The guy who's driving us around today was saying that he heard that they're around here, but he's never seen one and he's never met anyone who's seen one.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean they're not here.
I mean, someone was telling me that there's definitely lynx in Scotland. You know, there was in the news recently that someone released some like ridiculously tame lynx that were essentially just pets into the wild, and then they just kept going up to people, and then eventually they got, because they're not allowed to release lynx without a license, obviously, in Scotland, or at all. But apparently, according to people in the know, there's already loads of lynx in Scotland. They're just so elusive. So they're known as the ghost cat. Nice. But people have said they've seen tracks and seen things, but no one has, they're just existing. So who knows? Mystery.
You'll also notice that today we're both wearing first branded apparel. Don't get too excited because these aren't for sale. We're just going through a what would you call it? A kind of sampling process.
Testing in the wild.
Yeah, road testing a series of t-shirts. So I'd say 90% of the clothes I brought on this holiday are no longer known branded. So yeah, keep watch on Instagram and whatever social media, because I'll be showing them off so you can see. But yeah, we've been testing different quality, different like thicknesses of t-shirt, different fits, different colours, having a look at what kind of printing quality is. And then obviously the more I wear them, the more I'll be washing them, we can see the durability, just so we can make sure that everything is top notch when it gets released eventually this year.
Properly road testing. And you should have a good chance to really wear them into the ground because we're not planning on doing the official launch for a good few months. So
yeah, exactly. It's all I've been wearing since they arrived.
Nice, real dedication to it. Yeah, do follow. So as we said, I think in the last episode, Matt's doing a new channel on Instagram. Is it NLK_Matt? I'll put it in the description.
NLK_Matt.
And follow along there for stuff around the manufacturing t-shirts, artists, stuff like that. So yeah, maybe that's a good place to start. A bit more information about what you've been. We don't have to go into too much detail because we did the manufacturing episode, but what have you ordered and what initial impressions, what have you found, and what are you thinking?
As we kind of came to the conclusion on the episode about manufacturing, we kind of landed on Stanley Stella as a supplier, just because of their kind of sustainability credentials and kind of ethical practices around manufacturing. And it seemed the quality was good, the supply chain was good. We could use third-party printers to do these tests as well, which was helpful. So we've got 5 different types. all from Stanley Stella, just different fits, different weights. So I think the lightest one is 185, which is the orange one that I was wearing. Still feels okay, but I think personally a little too thin.
Yeah.
Still feels really soft and nice though. Then the next one up is these ones that we're wearing now. This is like 215 grams.
I think, like, I mean, my initial impressions are it feels really good quality and durable, but without being like annoyingly heavy.
Yeah.
It's 26. It's 7 o'clock in the evening, and it's still 26 degrees Celsius, and it feels light.
And it's soft as well, which is, so there's one heavier one than this, which we got, which is like 20 grams heavier, and it does feel like slightly thicker, but it's kind of like scratchier.
Right.
Which is, I don't know, it depends I guess it's personal preference, but I remember the first time
I feel like with scratchy, that's there's some things that are personal preference, like weight
maybe
and scratchiness.
Scratchy is unfair, maybe. It's just got more texture to it.
Okay.
Whereas this is like super soft. I remember when I first put it on, it was like, this is the one where I put it on for the first time, I was like, yes, feels premium. I feel like because we want people to be paying quite a lot of, well, we don't. People will be paying quite a lot of money for these t-shirts. Still TBC what that price is.
Yeah.
More than your average t-shirt, I would say, because we want to give money back to artists and to the animals. So it needs to be premium. It needs to be like a quality product. Otherwise, it's gonna feel like a rip-off.
Yeah.
And I feel like this feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, then there's another one. One of them is oversized, which I'll put a photo of me wearing that up on my Instagram, but I think you haven't seen it yet.
No.
It's very oversized. It kind of looks stupid, in my opinion, but I kind of feel like that style's quite cool with like Gen Z. So,
well, I mean, maybe the next newsletter, which we're due to send out soon, then shout out to all the new subscribers. If anyone's listening along we've been pretty overwhelmed by just the amount of subscribers that have been joining along. And yeah, I'll put in the next newsletter, I will put some like a little poll. I don't know. I'll put put some pictures in there, so you can put them on the Instagram. But put some pictures in there and be like, ask for some feedback maybe from our early subscribers of like, would you wear this? Should we just keep it simple?
Yeah.
These are all the questions people have started already asking us. Like, who've signed up? Like, are you going to be doing unisex? Are there going to be different sizes? Is it going to be oversized? So I don't know. Still TBC.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I definitely want to get people's opinions. I remember you saying it'd be nice for people to be able to choose between fits, but that would complicate things a lot from our end.
Yeah,
but we can look into that.
Because of the way we're doing it, and we're going to take the order essentially and then go and get the manufacturer to keep trying from a sustainability point of view, but also from a cost point of view. I think it's within the realms of possibility more than just next day delivery. But yeah, I think there's challenges with it. We're doing a limited drop, so we'll see. But anyway, yeah. So far, first impressions, I really like them, and also I like just the Dave design. Maybe we get some of these again. I'll put that in there. It's difficult. I think I've had feedback. We don't want to dilute the mission too much, but maybe some eventually, or maybe sooner, some t-shirts
of just the brand. Yeah, I like that idea. I really like what Ash did with the logo design and the kind of identity. Maybe we'll get to the point where the core range will be so limited and hard to get that people want their appetites satisfying with a slightly more available branded item. And the more they help us, the more we help the animals. So there you go.
Cool. So yeah, thanks for that update, and we'll keep you updated on how the wearability test and the durability test goes over the coming weeks. But yeah, so in this episode, I guess I wanted to talk about something we were chatting about whilst we were here under this year, was just in relation to something that I spotted online, which was this. It's actually a post on LinkedIn. It's from a strategy specialist, a brand strategy specialist, and they posted a post which was basically, here are 10 things that, I can't find it now, 10. Cut this. No. It was 10 things that your 10 questions to ask as a brand that you should be able to answer. And he was basically saying that the reason a lot of new brands fail is that they can't confidently answer these 10 questions.
Okay.
And that a lot of brands fall into the trap of saying, let's use an example of I don't know why I keep thinking of hydration brands, but let's say a beer. We've got a beer, right? New beer, and the brand goes, we're a new beer and we're going to be the best beer in the world. And like that's this basically saying it's almost impossible to do that unless you're within an existing category. So he came up with these 10 questions that you should ask yourself. And I thought it'd be a fun thing to do, to go through these 10 one by one. I've already made some notes, but I was thinking I could ask you, Matt. And you could see if you could answer them.
See if you agree with
I found them again now. So
okay, cool.
A bit of a...
I'm going to make some notes.
So yeah. So the first one, and they're all kind of, quite... It's all about being a bit contrarian, I guess, and trying to, rather than just saying we're the best. So the first one, can you say why people should buy from you, but without claiming to be better than your competition in any way? Is question number one.
Well, yeah, because it's more than just the product. So if you buy from us, some of the money that you give will go to help protect the habitats that these animals live in and artists globally. Also, you'll be contributing to like the spreading of the message. You'll be wearing the billboard of raising awareness of extinction, spreading the word. So yeah, I'd say in conclusion, it's more than just the t-shirt.
Nice. Yeah, what I've got written down is very similar. It's you're buying a piece of art, basically, is what we're trying to create, with a story behind it. And it's also, as you say, we're trying to build a community and a movement around this, which, a lot of brands say that, but I think more so. And everything that we talk about in terms of it being different to your standard conservation organisation and that sort of side of things, infiltrating culture. You checking we're still recording?
No, it's like with the gust of wind, the camera's wobbling on quite a precarious tripod setup of a wicker bird bath, 3 jigsaws, a towel,
we'll
and a
do some
plant
behind the scenes posts. It's our makeshift tripod.
It's very
quite
professional.
Something. I also forgot to do the elevator pitch.
I was thinking that
before.
We can do it at the end.
So we'll do the elevator pitch at the end. Usually, for anyone that's listening for the first time, if you are, I would definitely go back and listen to some of the previous Startup Diaries episodes to get a bit more context. But usually I try and do an elevator pitch at the start, and I forgot today, and try and refine it over time. So question 2 is, in what way do you disagree with your category?
What would you say our category is? T-shirts?
I'd say it was, t-shirts, fashion.
Well, fast fashion is the obvious thing.
Yep.
So removing more from the environment than you're giving back. What was it, sorry? Whether they get wrong?
What do you disagree with in your category? So I've put down, I think we're in 2 categories. We're trying to be in 2 categories, basically, which is fashion and conservation.
Yeah. I'd also say for fashion, there's like the whole thing about hype, like hype without substance. It's getting people really excited for no reason, really. Yep. Whereas I think the more excited people get, the more the message of like extinction will get out. So that's good. But conservation, something that you talk about a lot is how conservation only reaches people who are already converted and aware of that issue. So hopefully we won't get that wrong, because we'll be targeting everyone from, hopefully we'll still be on those people's radars, but also people who aren't really in that
And I
watch
think
space.
something that I was saying, but it need to maybe check in on a little bit, is the fact that one of the things that annoyed me about some of the more traditional conservation movement or environmentalism in general is just the negative framing and things like that, and trying to be more positive. And it is tricky with
Extinction
and biodiversity loss to not frame it as a negative thing. So I think we are trying to make it a positive movement, and representing these animals and making it something to get excited and build a community. But there's always going to be an underlying pessimism, maybe. I mean, once we start bringing out the stories, and like hopefully there's some good news stories, and when the species start coming back. But I guess that's a trickier one.
That's a long game.
The guilt and negativity as a thing we want to try and be the opposite of is difficult.
Yeah, I don't think we should be like, if you don't buy this t-shirt, an animal's gonna die.
Yeah. That's not what I meant.
Okay.
I just meant like the storytelling has to have an element of negativity, and the fact that you're talking about extinction, it can't all be like, it's impossible for it to be 100% positive.
Yeah. Fair.
The next one, I really like this question, which is, what do you suck at and why is this good?
This feels like when you have a job interview and they're like, what are your 4 worst traits? And you're like, oh, I'm just too conscious of detail.
Yeah. Too punctual for my own good.
Whereas actually it's like, I like to steal. I guess this sounds like that kind of answer, but we're a small family business, 2 brothers. So I guess we don't have like bureaucratic systems in place, which a lot of bigger companies would. We could argue it's good that we don't have that, because we always talking to each other. We're not held back by bureaucracy. I don't know. That's my first thought.
I think you're hinting towards the mass production. I think it's more around, oh, I can hear a cuckoo. That's cool. It's nice to be able to hear nature sounds and not just like the sound of the whirring. It's getting closer. Whirring laptop fan or something in the usual studio.
We've not edited a 10.
Yeah, I was thinking more around, so much of fashion is, the current fashion industry is built on, it's super scalable in the fact that they can produce as much quantity as they want. If they sell out, they just produce more and more. Where by doing limited drops, we essentially suck at selling to everyone, and that's the whole point.
Yeah, and yeah. No,
like if 1 million people wanted to buy the t-shirt, like that, we suck at that.
Yeah,
we
that's
can't do
also
it.
the point. Yeah, nice. And I guess it means we would naturally produce way less waste.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I wouldn't say that's the they brag about producing waste. It's like, what would they brag about? They probably brag about being able to sell to everyone all over the world.
Yeah, true. Whenever you want, next day delivery.
And this is very similar. This question just follows on from the last one, of what part of the market are you prepared to give up and let others have? High street fast fashion.
Yeah, high street fast fashion, like anything else?
Ultra ultra luxury like fashion as well. It's like the 2 ends of the fashion spectrum.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I wouldn't mind it if they got involved.
Yeah, no, I mean, just like, I guess
I'm not going to target them. Although, yeah, true.
Maybe we are more similar. I guess that's all storytelling, isn't it, at the end of the day? Like, if they can charge a lot for their stuff because they tell a good story.
Yeah,
so
people want to buy it because they want to be associated with
it's just a different
that
story.
brand.
Yeah.
Like that Balenciaga t-shirt that we talked about, that was like $1,000. There's nothing particularly exciting about the actual t-shirt. It's just the fact that it was this brand that people would want to represent.
Yeah. I mean, fashion is such a big part of the market. Like, we're prepared to give up a lot of that. Like, we're not going to do sports wear. Maybe we will, but like, we're not going to do. In the moment, it's just t-shirts. Like, so we're giving up a huge part. If we're talking about fashion in general, if we're talking about t-shirts, it's fast fashion. It's high street. It's like
shoes.
Just buying. Yeah, it's the t-shirt you can just buy for £5 or whatever. Like, that's the part of the market. There's a massive part of the market that we're prepared to give up. So I think that's quite an easy one.
Maybe one day we'll go into socks. Quite like the idea of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's for a future episode.
Yeah, let's not get shiny object syndrome. What forms of value exist in other categories but not in yours, and what would it look like if they did?
Sorry, say that again. I was making some notes.
What forms of value exist in other categories but not in yours? I think this is quite an interesting one.
Define value.
I guess value.
So
I was doing some Googling on this one, because I couldn't think of it either. And then it was like, well, actually, I say Googling. I put it into ChatGPT and said, like, what do you think of this question? What does it mean? Because I was a little bit confused at first. And it said, gaming and music are good examples of this category. They offer on top of the product, they offer immersive interactive experiences, cultural experiences as well. So I guess a band doesn't just produce
just
a CD. They go and
cool.
do a concert.
Yeah.
Again, games more and more, they like produce AR things and like intro. So that's definitely something we can talk about in a future episode a bit more, I think. But building a community and more than just a brand, and I know a lot of brands are trying to do this now, but I think we can do a lot more, like with this podcast, right? We almost making it into a bit more of a media channel alongside the brand and the stuff. We've talked about doing pieces with the artists and potentially doing like YouTube content and films.
That's true. You wouldn't get that with most, I don't know, fashion or just t-shirt brands seeing like the story of the artist. And
you've probably got some. I'm trying to think of some brands, maybe like a North Face or something that do like do films and things. But nothing in the. And then there's like streetwear, I guess, when you think of some of the like skate brands and stuff like that.
And stuff, yeah.
But
I like the idea of doing a film.
Yeah.
That's something to talk about.
Clearly, with this tripod setup, we're onto something. I mean, there's just so much we can do on the storytelling side of things that I just think not many fashion brands have tapped into. If they have, they're just scratching the surface. I think. And I mean, are there any brands out there, fashion brands, that do much on the nature side of things? Like, not that I can think of.
Not that I know of, but surely, like Patagonia and those, do they do like...
Patagonia do a lot of work and like donations and rewilding projects and things like that. I'm sure they have done little films and YouTube things, but it's not built into the brand. I feel like it'll be more built into what we're building than just like, we're Patagonia and we're also doing this sort of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea of people contributing as well. Like, we could get people's opinions on where they want us to film. And
well, that's what the Discord that we're going to set up very soon, which we're getting more and more people signing up to the VIP option on the launch, which is pretty cool. So once that gets up to a bit of a critical mass, I think we were reluctant to launch the Discord, but it was like in the single figures.
Yeah.
I think let's get that up to a good number. So yeah, for anyone out there that has signed up to the VIP, we're going to do that very soon. And then we'll put some of the questions like that on there, start doing polls. I really want to get that community involved in building the brand as well. But in the meantime, post in the comments on YouTube or Spotify if you've got any ideas as well.
Yeah.
Right. Question 7. What is something that every business in your category does, and what would it look like if you didn't?
I guess.
I think I wrote down more on I think it's more interesting from if we're talking about conservation brands. We talked a lot with the fast fashion things been done. I think let's think more about on the conservation side of things.
What do they all do? You probably know a lot more about that than I do. I would guess that they all, I don't know. What do they all do?
I mean, there is a lot of like leading with the doom and like guilt tripping. I think they are trying to change that a bit more and be a bit more inspiring and positive. There is definitely a general movement towards that. I think also it is a lot more about the kind of, not just the charity sector in general, it is just about donations, isn't it? And it's like, give us whatever, I don't know, whatever spare change is left at the end of the day. It's not like it's a nice to have almost. Whereas we're trying to build, it within to like the core of a private business as well, and prove that we can do this in a profit-making business, and that this is how all clothing brands, fashion brands could operate, or it can be done. So I think, yeah, like we're going to hopefully show that you don't necessarily need to rely on donations and charity. You can still make a difference and make a change within a branded company.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the difference.
Yeah, that is an interesting topic in general. Like, some people have asked me, like, is it a charity? Because as soon as you mention that you're trying to do something positive, people assume that it has to be a charity. But that's kind of sad. That, like, I guess that means the assumption is that any business would be causing a negative impact.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I really think it's important to. Charities are definitely really good for some things, but I think for this, when we're trying to like disrupt in the fashion space, it's really important, because if you did it as a charity, they'd always go, well, you're just running it as a charity, it's like not comparable. But if you can run it as a business and make it work and still give the money to the good cause, still give some money away, and within the business model, like it's built in, it's not just it's not like when we get to a certain amount we'll give like a little bit or whatever. It's like built into the actual business model. That's really powerful, and it's this whole movement towards like planet positive, nature positive business. It should be possible to build business models that work like this, and then you can go to the likes of, I won't name any fashion brands, but go, if we can do it, like why can't you do it? Your excuse of like we can't be sustainable because we need to charge only this amount, if we can prove that people are willing to pay, I don't know, then I think that's a good message. I think it's important that it's not a charity for that reason.
Yeah.
But I can understand why they naturally think there's a conservation goal. If it's for profit, then that undermines it. But I think it's the opposite.
Yeah, I agree. Clip that up.
Yeah. And when I was listening back to a couple of old episodes of the main podcast, what bird was that? I think it might have been a hoopoe.
Pigeon.
Sorry, so easily distracted being outside. Yeah, there's one episode with the sail cargo where they were trying to prove that they could do things just as profitably with like sailing ships, basically, rather than petrol.
Yeah.
And I've had a few other brands where I've asked them the question, why did you choose to be a for-profit and not a not-for-profit? And it was that same reasoning, that because they're trying to disrupt within an industry, you can't really have the conversation, this is the way it should be done, if you're just acting as a charity. So it's not to say that all charities are bad, and charity hasn't had its purpose.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
We're
like some things you
can't.
can't, if you're not selling a product, it doesn't work. As if like the going off a bit of a tangent here, but the last episode I just put out last week, Mission to Marsh, which is a charity raising funds for peatlands. Like the way they're operating, like they're not selling a product or anything, so they're just like raising money to save wetlands and peatlands, and they're doing it through this film and stuff like that. So it makes sense for that to be a charity. But if you're actually selling a product, then
Yeah, that's a good point.
Question 8. Beyond your direct competitors, what other things might people buy or do instead of choosing you? This is the classic conservatory versus caravan.
I guess maybe they would buy a bog standard, whatever they would have otherwise bought in terms of a t-shirt, maybe like just like a nice plain t-shirt, and then donate 10 quid to charity. I guess that's like an alternate option that someone could do. Or I guess it depends who we're talking about, but it might be someone who's super into like the hype fashion streetwear brands.
Yeah, I think this is what we'll navigate as we build it more. But I think what I've written down is, there's the potentially the kind of limited drop type brands, as you said. There's potentially like supporting other charities and conservation organizations, but maybe it's like people that it's like, and this, I guess, beyond, it says beyond direct competitors. So and it says buy or do. So maybe for the do bit of the question, it's like posting on social media that they're active, they're like passionate about this thing. So it's wearing a message, and it's a way to get the conversation out there to more people. So maybe they would have been like, why are not more people not caring about biodiversity loss? And this is a way that they can, as we've always said from the start, hopefully it'll be an easy conversation start with more people. I mean, just on this holiday wearing these are the finished t-shirts, people have asked us like what that is, and it starts a conversation about biodiversity loss and stuff like that, whereas you wouldn't want to be just like at the kitchen table like, oh, should we have a conversation about extinction?
Yeah, it's like, oh god.
Not again.
Not again.
So rather than tweeting into the void, I guess, or like posting on social media in frustration, or just maybe not even that, I'm hoping it's a way that more people can show that they care about something in an interesting way.
Yeah, nice.
Question 9. Is the opposite of what you offer also a good idea? Brackets, it should be. I mean, I don't think fast fashion is a good idea, but
yeah, this is the kind of question that makes my mind melt. Like, what's the opposite of making a t-shirt? Sucking a t-shirt back into the cotton form and then planting it again, and then taking money away from charities.
You're being literal, too literal. What's the opposite of what you offer? Not literally opposite. What's the opposite offer?
Yeah, I guess fast fashion with no ulterior goal, like positive message. Doesn't sound great.
No, it doesn't sound great, but to someone,
I guess there's a market for it. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, and it depends what your goal is, right? If your goal is to make as much money as possible and to service as much of the world as possible, then making like t-shirts for £1, selling them everywhere in the world is like,
yeah, true. And if you can offer next day delivery and stuff, there's definitely people who would like that.
A little bit of everything all the time. And finally, question 10. What is one big, binary, unmissable thing you're going to change about your business which will make the difference? Wow, that's a huge question.
Binary, unmissable thing?
Like, it's basically telling us we have to change something. Maybe we have to go away and think about that one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to...
I'm going to put it into ChatGPT.
What's one thing to change? Probably the amount that we post on social media. Does that count?
Yeah, I think I have to come back to I have to sit and mull over this question.
Tune in next episode for an answer.
Do you want me to tell you what ChatGPT said?
Go on.
So ChatGPT said, binary switch from product as clothing to product as protest. This mental model shift would reshape how you brief artists, market drops, and build community. Each piece becomes a signal, a symbol, a conversation starter. It's not a t-shirt. It's a limited edition manifesto.
I mean, that's just a change in language.
Yeah. Because
we are already doing that or trying to do that. So maybe that is what we just need to change the way we talk about things a little bit.
Clearly, so I had prep, it already has access to our brand strategy. So maybe we're not being clear enough. ChatGPT thought so. Thanks, ChatGPT. We'll
do it again.
We'll do it again. So yeah, I think we did pretty well there.
Yeah, I think we did very well. There's nothing that was like, I have no idea what the answer to that would be.
And I tried to get through it for other companies I've worked for and struggled more with some of those questions.
Yeah, maybe I'll do it for the company I work for as well.
Yeah, take it back to 59 Design and see what they think in terms of go into your office and say, what do we suck at and why is it good?
Oh god, yeah, I think the CEO he'd absolutely love answering those questions.
Would he?
Yeah, he'd be able to blag his way through all of them.
Brilliant. Hopefully he's listening. Okay, well I think that was kind of useful, and I think it's just I just like that post, and I like what he posts, like what this Alex Smith guy posts. I'll put a link to his profile in the description to the podcast, because I think he just constantly makes brands question. He does these really good case studies of like IKEA, and then he'll go through all these similar things, like, and how they approach stuff completely differently. And they basically decided, like IKEA, they decided we're not going to be a luxury furniture brand, and we're going to not appeal to everyone, and all those kind of things that seem obvious when you start working your way through these questions. It's quite fun to kind of think of really well-known brands and work your way through those questions, because it's like Ryanair's another one like that he did. Was like, they at the time, it was like, why would anyone not want to like have a seat number or would not want to have a checked bag and all this? And they were just like, nope, some people will. And then so all of a sudden now it's like
everywhere.
But at the time it was mad.
Yeah, very interesting.
Like, so yeah.
All right, elevator pitch, go.
Elevator pitch. Okay. This was meant to be at the start, but so
if you made it this far through the episode without knowing what we're doing,
yeah,
this is an explanation.
Back in Andalusia, where it all began. So the elevator pitch, no longer known. We are aiming to be a truly planet positive clothing company where we are linking scarcity to not just hype, but to something meaningful. We are producing limited drop t-shirts where each t-shirt will have a design of a particular species that's in danger of going extinct in the wild. We will be doing each design in collaboration with an artist local to where that species is found. And is that it?
Give some money.
We'll be giving money to, as part of built into the business model, we're giving money to the artists and also to an organisation that's working to conserve the species or the ecosystem where it's found.
I think you've gone back a step.
I've gone back a step, maybe. And maybe we've had a couple of beers. But
no, it's still getting more.
It's there or there. It's there or thereabouts.
I guess one of my questions would be, do you think people would understand what you mean by planet positive? And is there a way of
making that more
even
obvious?
More obvious?
Do you not think planet positive is self-explanatory?
Well, I guess
I've thought about this a
maybe
lot.
People might think that's kind of like meaningless. It's like just vaguely good.
Okay. Because the alternative would be to say like we're going to be carbon neutral, nature neutral. I don't know. Like all these terms of this is the problem. There's a lot of greenwashing out there. So that's why I say true. That's why I said truly planet positive.
Yeah.
We truly want to give back more from the brand than we take away from the planet.
Could you not say that? We want to give back more than we take away.
These are all words. These are flaws.
These are all
these are all tie in the elevator.
Flaws in the hypothetical building.
Not FLAEW. These are flaws. Okay, well that's an interesting critique, and maybe
we can talk about that and tune in next time for an update.
But it's pretty much. I feel like I'm talking there or thereabouts. And if anyone has any feedback on it and wants to offer a better elevator pitch, then I'm all ears. But right,
to finish off,
let's have a little quiz. All right, cool.
So this started off. The title I've written down here is the Iberian Animal Quiz. The first animal I googled was Iberian wolf, and I found so much stuff about them that it's just an Iberian Wolf Quiz.
Nice.
Now. As we're here in the home of where it lives.
Yeah, and there's also just down the road, like 10 minutes down the road from here, there's a
Lobo Park
conservation centre for wolves.
Yeah, Wolf Park. So it's very relevant for where we are. Okay, to start off, the Iberian wolf is a subspecies of which wolf?
Good question. The red wolf, maybe?
Ooh, you've hit the post. Grey wolf.
Grey wolf.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
What is the population? What's the population globally of the Iberian wolf? I say globally. It's only in Iberia.
Ooh.
I can. Yeah,
Can you give me its IUCN status, or is that another question?
That's actually the next question.
Because you should have done them the other way around.
I can.
Yeah, do them the other way around. Can we do IUCN status?
Okay. What's the IUCN?
We need to do some education.
I was going to actually do a question, which was, can you tell me what all of the categories are?
Yeah, I mean,
on the red list.
We can come to that.
That's another episode.
Another whole episode. Yeah, we should do it.
I think we can do an episode about like endangered species, how it's worked out, what it means, that kind of stuff.
I agree.
Anyway, what are you going to say for this?
I'm going to say I don't think it's critically endangered. Is it? and just go endangered.
It's not even vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Okay.
Which is one above endangered.
Yeah. So that means that means there's going to be. Thing is, it's vulnerable, but it's quite local subspecies.
I also don't know when these numbers were taken, so
like 12,000 pairs.
12,000 pairs. Interesting. so it's 2,000. The one I've got is 2,200 to 2,700.
Wow, that's a lot less.
In 350 packs.
Okay.
So
I mean, thinking about Iberia and how the area is not huge, and wolves can have quite a big range. Now my number sounds silly. But well, I was thinking in terms of limited drop T-shirts. It's like, guys,
2,200 T-shirts is a largest run, I'd say. But that's another thing to talk about. Like, are we only featuring critically endangered species or endangered? Because vulnerable, we're like, I mean, they're all.
And also, there's the whole subspecies, and what even is a species? I mean, this is a topic for another time. Yeah.
Get Jim on the podcast. Is hunting of these wolves legal?
I don't know if it's a trick question. It's like they're legal in certain areas. I know in other areas of Europe it is, so I would suspect potentially yes.
You thought right. It's very complicated.
Yeah, like within national parks or like protected areas, probably not.
It was legal everywhere until. Do you want to guess the year?
2007.
2021.
Oh, wow.
And then in this year, it was then legalized again in areas north of the Douro River due to overpopulation, and it's kind of interesting reading about it. So yeah, it's like due to growing population along with livestock losses.
Yeah, that's usually linked to it.
Farmers.
You can see why farmers would start to get stressed about
their livelihood
eating them. But I think the government should compensate for that anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God, that's a whole other thing, isn't it? So yeah, they legalized it again. But then, interestingly, there was a note saying they're very difficult to hunt because they're like, I guess, like the lynx living in the shadows.
Yeah.
Ghost wolf.
A little bit less so, but yeah.
So because of that, they're seen as like a big game trophy, which is quite sad.
Yeah.
Okay, next. The Iberian wolf is considered beneficial because they keep the population of which animal stable?
It's going to be a deer of some kind, I think.
Is it a deer?
I mean, in Northern Europe, it's deer. Here in Iberia,
if you were in the car with me today, the local guy was talking about this animal a lot.
Was he? Oh, is it the Egyptian mongoose?
No, no. He was also talking about that.
No,
it's a wild boar.
Oh, the wild boar. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they have. It's weird when you think in the UK we have this certain species that we're like desperate to get back, which is wild boar because they're extinct and because they do so many amazing things ecologically in terms of turning over the soil and creating habitat for other animals, but creating like ponds and things like that naturally. But when you've got too many of them, like when they're not controlled, same with deer and stuff, you need those apex predators. But
and he was saying that they're so. He's saying that they're absolutely massive. Like one attacked his dog.
You got a fly in your
got
pit.
a fly in there. I was like drink around it.
There's
a spider in there. Yeah, really big, like over 100 kilograms, like really aggressive, especially if they've got babies.
Yeah.
But potentially quite cool. But to give you credit, they do also eat deer, rabbit, and ibex.
Yeah.
And then final question. This is more of a test of your Latin than of your ecology, but the Latin name of the subspecies is Signatus canis lupus. Can you tell me why it is called that?
Canis lupus.
I mean, not that bit. That's just wolf. I mean, Signatus.
That just sounds like signature. The signature wolf.
I mean, if you took it that part of it more, you might.
Yeah, like it's the signature wolf of Iberia. I don't know.
No. It's because it has white marks on its upper lips and dark marks on the tail and front legs. So it's got like it's marked, I guess.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's
nice.
it.
Okay, I think I did quite poorly there, but I learned a lot.
I didn't really keep track of the score, but we're all winners.
I don't remember getting anything right.
Yeah, I don't think you did actually.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the hunting. Oh no, yeah, that was not really clear answer. Okay, yeah, give you 0.
Let's not dwell on it. That's great. Well, I've really enjoyed doing this episode back at where it all started. An episode in person as well. Try and do more of these.
Yeah.
And outdoors. It's nice to hear birds tweeting and
yeah, we did talk about maybe doing some episodes without video where we just walk and talk.
Yeah.
If that's of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll take some behind the scenes shots as well, because the view is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if you can really see it on the video.
Yeah. And we're going to try and get some photos together, because we were being heavily criticised when asked by a couple of people who wanted to post about the idea that we didn't have any photos that weren't ridiculously stupid.
Or since the age of 5. Which is quite cute, but we don't look like business owners.
No. So yeah, that's on the agenda. So keep an eye out for those. As Matt said, posting them on social media, on LinkedIn, I'll leave, and the Instagram, I'll leave links to all that in the description. But for now, we'll be back in a couple of weeks with another episode, probably back in the UK in our usual studios. Thanks again to everyone that's signed up to the launch list and who signed up to follow along. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Cheers.